Welcome to the video. We are talking about the key to success with using miners in Town Hall 12. The number one key for this success of all miner attacks, and miners are a very fickle troop. Sometimes they crush and sometimes they die out and you wonder what happened. The main difference is, and I've found, is if you can get the perfect funnel. And the great thing about these queen walks, what kind of value can you get from the queen? And how can it help with your funnel so when your miners come through the base, they're all together and not spread out, and you can really get used to the use of the heal spells of those miners, okay? So this one's a little bit different. Only 2 heal spells, which is a little bit dangerous, but Toxic Melvin understands the value of a queen. And we're going to break it down here for you and show you the beauty of this attack. And if you see a base like this, or any bases where you can get this sort of queen value and then use the king on the other side, yeah, it's going to go well for you. So, okay, coming in hot and dandy with a queen walk at 3 o'clock. You can see this right here on the screen. And the goal here is you already know where you want the queen to go. Because the minion was up there on the elixir, you know that Toxic Melvin, wants the queen to push towards 4 o'clock, the 6 o'clock side, okay? Look at that. Beautifully executed. Now, that's a tough funnel. Not for the faint of heart, in the sense of if you're new to the game, you might have to attack a number of times before you can learn how to do that. But pops the rage, lures out the CC, puts that poison down. It's a later poison, and that is smart. With the hound and the baby dragon, don't put the poison down right away. It's a little poison trick for you. I actually might make a separate video of that using this strategy, because you want to wait just a little bit. So when the hound pops, the poison's still up for the pups, okay? There goes the jump. Now notice, king comes up top here with an ice golem. Queen is going to funnel everything on this side. King is up top, and he's going to miner right up the gut. Ice golem is here to protect. A little bit late on the ice golem. He got a little bit too much damage on from the archer towers and the Tesla. He had 2 archer towers and a Tesla on the king. So if he had the ice golem a little bit down earlier, he would have saved king a little bit ability. King would have gotten just a little bit more, right? A little more damage output. And here's the beauty. Okay, so you also look what's happening. Queen pinched one side, as I said before. King came in up at 12, and what's going to finish the deal? Because see, miners are coming in hot. But you don't want the miners to split here. So this is why miners are fickle. If miners will split at the king pad, so some will go, say, maybe the wizard tower, the sweeper. What happens is you have a weird split. Some go towards 10 o'clock, and others go down towards the queen, down towards the eagle artillery. You get this weird split, so your heal spells aren't working together. You're going to have to use 2 separate heal spells. Generally, that spells doom for these minor attacks. But there's a way you can do it. The slammer. Now, you don't always have to use a slammer. You could use a slammer. You could use a ram or a blimp. Whatever you need to do to get the funnel. Now, slammer here is nice, right? Sure, there's an air defense here, but it's still going to get some damage off and create that beautiful funnel. In fact, he could have put the slammer in a little bit earlier. Thankfully, the slammer got down that bomb tower. Honestly, put in the slammer a little bit earlier, because it was almost too late. And if he even waited a little bit longer, that bomb tower would have been up. His miners would have gone more towards over there. That would have not been good. Okay? So just be aware of that moving into the future. He just got the timing right, though. You notice the miners are right hugging the side. If this bomb tower was up, and those other defenses, they would have pushed up to that inferno, okay? Just be aware of that. But look at this. He's able to just heal every single one of his miners. I mean, that is what you need to do on these miner hits. They have to work together in unison. The heal spells need to cover as many of the miners as possible. You really don't want splits. That's the same way with dragons a lot, with those rages, or with miners and hogs, of course, for the heals. And you notice it crushed. This is a massacre. I mean, there are, I can't even count how many miners up. There's got to be at least 20-something miners. I mean, that is a massacre with the queen still alive. So a crushed base and just beautiful use of those queen walk miners. Hopefully you learned something there and learned how to use them effectively. Minors are really bad when they start to go off by themselves. So think of it like a flock of birds, right? They're more, or school of fish, right? In nature, when they're together, they're strong. When they're separate, well, they're going to get picked off one by one. And that is kind of the minor mentality. And yeah, a beautiful attack. Beautiful indeed. You know what? Just for the sake of it, because I have you here, and I don't have another Town Hall 11 attack, but I do want to show you another minor hit, just showing you and helping you kind of grasp this sort of mentality here. Now, this is totally different base. Obviously, it's a Town Hall 11. I get that. I understand, but it's still minors. The same principles apply for all Town Hall levels. And the more successful minor attacks are the ones where you can really have a great funnel for king and queen, right, and slammer, and make sure those minors stick together. Now, on this one, a great funnel troop is the P.E.K.K.A., right? P.E.K.K.A is a wonderful funnel troop. In fact, it's one of the best funneling troops for doing these kind of, where there's a baby dragon just would not do as well. So no jump here, but no need. Damage CC, here comes the king. Now notice what do you think's happening? If you were to guess and say you're new at the game, where do you think he's going to bring in the minors? What do you think? Can you see it? It's pretty obvious. And we'll find out. I'll let you figure it out or see if you're right. I really love the early use of these archers at 9. It's just beautiful. Make sure he doesn't time fail. I love it. There goes the king. Here comes the slammer. Here comes the minors. Now, one thing that you could have done, and it wouldn't have been a terrible idea, was to bring in the slammer at 12 to make sure those minors really stuck tight. And honestly, I think looking back, I would have done that. Maybe his original plan was he didn't know it was a Tesla farm up there, right? I mean, so he was like, well, I'll just throw in the slammer with the minors. But to be fair, a better approach would have been to put it up at 12 and 11, just to create that pinch, right? Take down the Teslas, create the pinch. That way the minors aren't going to be shifting over to this outside area, and then they could just swoop around the entire base. So, sometimes in the heat of the moment, you can misclick or you just don't click right. But one benefit of the slammer going into the middle was that just in case maybe the miners weren't able to get down that Eagle artillery. However, you notice here, miners move much faster than the slammer, okay? There finally drops the slammer. He's got miners inside. But notice here, you can already tell, if the slammer was up top, they would have taken care of this, right? It would have been a little bit better. He did lose. See that split? A couple miners went up top and got melted by the Teslas there because he didn't have a spell. So, again, just a little learning. I mean, he's still 3-starred. It doesn't mean if you don't get that perfect funnel down, doesn't mean you can't 3-star, okay? That's not the point. The point is learning some tips. Now, of course, on these fresh hits, it's easier said than done. I mean, in the heat of the moment, you're nervous. I've misclicked so many times. I'm not saying he'd misclicked, but those things happen. You just don't see it. Maybe you thought, well, I won't put it at 12 because there's so many different reasons in the heat of the moment you don't do the right thing. I'm just saying if he had done the slammer at 12, he would have had more miners up. And you saw, as I said before, miners work well together. If they separate, they get really melted pretty fast. So anyways, beautiful 3-star. I love it. He's still got a lot. He's got like 12 miners up, I think. So still quite a few miners up in the bag. Had a queen as well. Nice 3-star from Mr. JJ, Jazz and James. And that's from Town Hall 12 and Town Hall 11. The key to that 3-star was the queen value was huge. Beautiful funnel with the queen. And the other one, he also used the king nicely in the P.E.K.K.A. to make sure all those miners went into the core where he wanted. That was perfect. The only thing you could have fixed on that raid was putting the slammer at 12. That's it. Everything else was flawless, was perfect. And that's a great way to end the video. I appreciate you watching. Thanks again. Please subscribe for more miner tips and how to make sure your miners destroy bases. Take care, guys. Halo out.